Darren, obviously kind of a striking difference in the three-point shooting first half to second half. It seemed like a lot of the shots you were taking in the second half were probably shots you'd like, shots that were open, that were the product of the way the offense was functioning. Like, what is a key? Maybe it's a simple answer, but what is a key for, especially an experienced team, guys who've seen those shots go down, to just kind of keep shooting through it and to not lose confidence or maybe let it slip in some other area like rebounding or defense, that they can kind of isolate those struggles and just sort of play through them?
Yeah. I agree. The shots we got in the second half were the same ones in the first half. We were getting really good, clean looks by some of our best shooters. So it was kind of one of those halves where you go 1 for 20. It's like the easy thing to do is say, hey, let's get more paint touches, go drive it. The hard thing to do is when you got a guy that if he's wide open, he's making 7 out of 10 threes. It's that finding that balance of, I don't want him to hesitate, so you want him to stay confident. It's also, after a while, it's like if we're not making them, we got to be able to get in there. And I thought the guys, middle of the second half or so, late middle second half, we out of the timeout, we were able to get some of those paint touches, able to get downhill, got a couple lobs, some stuff like that. But yeah, for us, it's always been like you got to stay confident as a shooter, and sometimes it's similar, I guess, to use a baseball. Like one guy hits a home run, you see 2 or 3 other ones. Everybody starts hitting, and sometimes shooting can be that way too. And guys kind of feed off of one another. And I thought, that second half, you can definitely feel it go in a negative way for us. Of we kind of lost a little bit of our confidence. They weren't shooting it with the same swagger that they're accustomed to.
Just curious how much of an emphasis the defensive rebounding has kind of been in practice, and do you feel like you're getting better, making progress in there, and kind of what, like in your eyes, like what's the key to becoming a better defensive rebounding team? Is it simply blocking out? Is it positioning? Just kind of what goes into that?
Yeah, for us, it's it's not there. Like we're not there yet, and that's something as we get ready, for our last non-conference game, and then come home from Christmas break, and then get ready for the last, stretch run of Big Ten games. Is that has to become a priority for all of us, and that hasn't quite registered yet with our group of how do we become a good defensive rebounding team, because we can, but you have to do it a certain way for us to be successful, and it's not going to be a run and jump contest for us. So it's got to be a physicality, toughness contest, a want to, and that's where we got to get to.
Coach, you have a quick turnaround, obviously, with Monday, and then you have like 2 weeks off. So how do you approach this next day and then next 2 weeks?
Yeah, tomorrow we'll recap this one, have a quick film session on not quick, but a film session on Sienna, and do our kind of walkthrough and practice. It has to be fairly light, with the minutes and things, so you don't get a lot of live reps, guarding them guarding us. So you got to rely a lot on your principles and things, and then shoot around on Monday. Before we play the game. After the game, the guys are basically free until they get back for practice on the 27th. So get a nice little break here in college basketball world, at least, to go see some friends and family for a few days. So I know they're excited about that. But like I told them, the main thing is we got to make sure before we do that, we got a game we got to get ready for, and make sure that we leave for a good Christmas. So that's our number one goal, is to make sure that we come out ready to play on Monday.
The home run example, like, are there things you can use, or like an approach you can take to try to create that swagger, or is it just really as easy as like they have to hit the shots?
I mean, sometimes it's as easy as they have to hit the shots. A lot of times as a coach, you have somebody struggling, you try to find them a way to get a layup. So you get a layup, and then maybe you see one go in, getting to the free throw line. Sometimes that's great for shooters too. So we did a few things tonight to try to get a couple of the guys a layup or an easy one opportunity. A couple of the play just didn't work. We weren't able to get it. But overall, that's kind of the offset of like how do you try to get them going, is maybe try to find them an easy one.
Yeah, Darian, Connor Enright, 7 assists tonight, just 1 turnover, is up to top 5 nationally in assist-to-turnover ratio. What does he do for you guys, not only limiting turnovers, but also as a playmaker on the offensive end?
I think Connor's terrific. What he does is, he plays with great pace. Off of misses especially. And Connor's a smart guy. Like, he knows how to get assists, so he finds the guys that he knows that can make them. So in transition, he's always looking, he's always hunting for guys to come free, and that's I think that's what makes him kind of that ultimate team guy. Is he's always about understanding like what it takes to try to get some guys going, get some easy buckets for guys.
Yeah, Darren, basically a week off from the Kentucky game. What was this week like in practice, and then how do you think you carried it over from practice to today?
Yeah, I thought our practices were pretty good. You know, we put a huge priority on taking care of the basketball, and then defensive rebounding. I mean, it was our main focus the entire week of how do we get better in those two areas. And I thought, to be quite honest, we were just okay again tonight on that. So it's something we're going to continue to prioritize, every night. Now, overall, we've been pretty good on the turnover department, most of the year. So it's been just a little bit recent that we've gotten a little careless with it. And you just can't beat good teams turning the basketball over and giving them live ball turnovers. So, but I think this group, I would say they're unselfish. You see the assists, the turnovers and things. At halftime, we were in a really good spot. Just the second half, we just weren't very clean on either one of those areas.
Darren, when you have one of these nights where the shooting is white hot, but then it just goes sideways, and you talk about the confidence level in that, are you afraid, and what can you do about that bleeding over into other areas? Free throw shooting, not exactly great tonight either. At one point, it was just above 50%. So what can you do to try to mitigate that?
I think it's, from a mindset standpoint, it's something we talk about all summer and fall. I know we're a three-point shooting team. That's what we do. But our mindset has to be, regardless of shots falling, our defense has to keep us in the game. And, for the most part in the second half, we still held them to, 34%. So missing whatever we were 0 for 15, the reason it never got close again, because we still did a good job of defensively not giving them easy ones. On a night like that, that's what it's going to have to be. And that's I give our guys some credit there. They didn't let it completely turn into, hey, we're not scoring, lose all focus at the other end. Now giving them easy shots, easy opportunities. They still stayed, really engaged, and I thought, did a pretty good job of making things as difficult as they could.
Coach, you guys tied a season low with fouls tonight, and I heard you on pregame radio say you went back and looked at kind of all the fouls thus far. Was there anything you identified when you went back and took that look in terms of these are the kind of fouls we need to cut out while not sacrificing still being physical on defense?
Yeah, a lot of them were verticality issues. Some of them were in transition off of turnovers, that's harder because you're as the guys are driving, trying to keep your hands back and still give them a challenge at the rim. But we're going to be a heavy hands team. Trying to rake at balls, getting steals, getting deflections, heavy into like making entries difficult. And that wasn't really where we were picking up a lot of our fouls. A lot of our fouls were kind of the cheap reaches, not ones where we're going to have a high rate of success. And we broke down some of those fouls and where they came from and showed them the difference between, hey, here's an aggressive one that we're willing to accept a foul every now and then, and here's the ones we gotta stop. Maybe it's reaching from behind or whatever when you don't need to. That's something that A, we can't let them be at the free throw line, and B, we don't need you sitting over on the bench. So that's something we put a priority on this week or talked about a lot. Now, I don't want us losing our edge either from a defensive standpoint. Our 2-point field goal percentage defense is one of the better ones in the country, and we don't have shot blocking. So there's a reason for that too. So we got to make sure there's just a nice balance of, hey, we don't want to foul, but we also maintain our physicality.
Going back to the very beginning of the game, you gave a game ball to Lamar from the other day, and then the way the game started, bang, 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 we hit 4 in a row. I mean, as a coach, what are you thinking just in that snapshot when the guys come out like that and they hit everything? And in the case, most of it was Lamar.
Yeah.
I think you were going to have to give him another ball.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We're going to have to get another ball ready. This keeps going. No, it was good to see Lamar, get back. Even the Kentucky game, he played well. He just wasn't out there long enough, with his foul trouble. But it was good to see him get off to a good start. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now. So that's fun to watch him as he's in one of those zones.
I guess just about Nick. I think it's 4 times in the last 6 games now he's hit multiple threes in a game. I think it's 3 times with at least 4. He talked about maybe feeling like he's kind of got his sea legs back now after obviously not just the recovery, but also just getting the conditioning up and the sharpness. Just how much more do you think he can kind of grow into a role for this team, whether it's off the bench, whether he pushes to get into the starting 5 at some point? What can he bring as maybe he finds more of that comfort?
Yeah, I think he's doing a really good job. Like we talked about, he gives us something additional especially from a shooting standpoint. He's one of those guys again that can get 2, 3, 4 in a row in a hurry. And what I've been most impressed with as he's continued to get his game legs under him is just his defense and his rebounding. Those are the areas that we're looking for from everybody. So. We talk to guys all the time right now about, like, if you want your role to extend or you want to gain a role, those are a couple areas where you can really help us, because that's something we really need, and prioritize that on top of whatever else that you're good at. And Nick we all can see he can certainly shoot the ball, and his minutes from a rotation standpoint, as his minutes has grown, we're trying to figure out some of those rotations to get him the amount of minutes that he probably needs to be getting.